Welcome to Overwatch. This time we're going to talk about the new animated short, Infiltration, Season 2's second video, alongside what feels like the real start of the story of Overwatch. We'll do plot and lore and all that good stuff in a moment, but let's jump in with a few nice tidbits of information. First big thing is that this is the first short or cinematic since the quote-unquote launch of the game in terms of timeline. For those of you who don't know, in-game we're at around the time of the museum heist, the thing that they showed off the game first with. Overwatch has been recalled and is active, and the museum heist was the first time the public had seen Overwatch agents active in the field fighting against Talon. Every other cinematic so far has been set kind of before that, or in Bastion's case kind of irrelevant to the timeline, while this one is set after those events. What makes me say that? Well, the major thing is that Sombra is actively hacking Dorado and Volskaya in the game at the moment, which is going to then line up to the Talon attempted assassination of Katya, I think it was Katya, Volskaya. Now you're probably thinking, why should I care about that? Well, so far we've only been learning history, but we knew how and where things ended up ultimately. Now we're pushing into new territory for things to develop and happen. Characters can move around and do things. For example, Zarya becoming some kind of Volskaya Industries bodyguard or agent is a different path for her than most people expected, which is just getting scooped up by the reforming Overwatch. Considering Zarya's opinion towards Omnix, well, it also makes you think about what would happen if she found out about the truth of her new employer. You know, the one major weapon Sombra has. Of course, there's one final small note I want to touch on, that being Reaper's continued life as a jobber. Don't get me wrong, it's actually kind of badass for him to get trapped in by these massive mech suits, and then a few minutes later he's walking away from a smouldering, flaming wreck. But you know, it still doesn't quite feel like a win. Next short is in, the guy might need a victory on screen, or he'll feel a bit like Team Rocket, blasting off again after his wacky and dastardly scheme gets foiled. No fault of Widowmaker's that anything went wrong, of course. No clear shot and she still hit the earring. My girl remains absolutely wonderful. Not going to lie, seeing a talent operation like this was just really cool as a setting. We got to see the dynamics of the characters a little. Sombra being playful and unreliable, Widowmaker all business, and Reaper the barely contained ball of edge and rage that he is. We got a solid impression of who Sombra is, the kind of things she does, and that she has her own set goals and agency in the world. Widowmaker is Talon from a reader-player-viewer perspective. She carries out Talon's orders and achieves their goals without fuss or drama or question. She is our link to Talon and their motives. Sombra, however, is something else. She's more of an actual person with goals and aspirations, but she certainly seems to enjoy outplaying people a little bit more than anyone you consider heroic, perhaps. I've already heard a lot of people do this, compare her to Tracer. And it's not an unfair comparison, they're both opposite ends of the same spectrum. Flashy, extravagant, enjoy outmaneuvering their opponents, just with a totally opposite moral compass. One being a good guy heroic ideal that might be a bit naive, the other being more of a cynical anti-villain with more power than sense. This single shot here actually said a lot to me, by the way, which is where Widowmaker seems, well, skeptical. And remember, Widowmaker is Talon as far as we are concerned. No divided loyalties unless they start suggesting her brainwashing is interfered with, not like Reaper, who's more of a revenge story, narratively speaking, and I call him more of a personification of Overwatch's darker side, while Widowmaker is the personification of Talon. Talon seems skeptical, that's kind of interesting. Alongside the Infiltration short, we got a semi-comic kind of introduction about who is Sombra, where we learn about her motivations and background. What has me amused is that her and Lucia have somewhat similar background stories, fighting for a downtrodden lower class who are getting exploited by big business, a popular theme in modern society. But while Lucia has become the public figure using fame and music to drive people to better things, Sombra went into the shadows and found a global scale player in all of this, which comes to this slide. Tons of speculation on this slide already. The big symbols are, if you are curious from left to right, Lumerico, Volskaya Industries, Numbani, Talon, Overwatch, and, well, in the middle, the Illuminati basically are. That's what I'm going to call them, because that's what they basically are. Somehow the central figure has links into every other big player involved. This all feeds back, by the way, into Soldier 76's backstory, the suspicion of global conspiracy to take out Overwatch, which leads me to, well, meta plot speculation. And I'm slightly rankling at it already because it's very standard Blizzard fare. Let's start simple. Talon and Overwatch. They're in opposition somehow. Talon wants to do its thing, which seems oriented around global destabilization. Remember that they didn't know Volskaya has links to Omnix, so assassinating Volskaya weakens Russia and strengthens the Omnix, in their mind at the very least, so they're not some kind of anti-Omnic crusaders, they're just in it for the chaos basically. Overwatch is trying to reform and establish itself as a peacekeeping force. But both are being puppeted, which makes me think that Overwatch was destroyed because it was getting too influential and kind of impossible to control. People like Jack Morrison and Reinhardt would have to be manipulated, they couldn't be ordered by some global force. And if it gets too big and starts uncovering the puppeteers, well, they become a big issue. Talon's kind of in the same situation. They probably don't know they're getting manipulated. Evil organizations tend not to enjoy that too much. Two factions played against each other by a larger evil force. If you've played WoW, that might sound a bit familiar. If you've played any Blizzard game, it might sound familiar. 2 years from now, if Tracer and Widowmaker have to team up and take down some big Illuminati head honcho aiming to control the planet, I'll be shouting fucking called it from the rooftops. Feel free to join me. Final thing I want on this slide, this character here that I've highlighted for you guys. My gut reaction is that it's Athena, which suggests that Athena might be corrupted or controlled by that global conspiracy. There's a million and one theories I could put forward about the nature of the conspiracy, from the Omnic God program still being active and pulling the strings in the background like old gods from WoW, or some kind of hidden cabal that's existed for centuries, because who doesn't like Illuminati and secret cults being global powerhouses? Without more info though, it's all just rampant speculation. Back to the animated short. Is it my favourite? Probably not. Still goes to Alive for me. Widowmaker and Tracer make good foils for each other and both look very effective in what they're doing. In Infiltration, Sombra looked kind of unopposed. She was fighting generic mooks and had no trouble outsmarting them and outplaying them. There was never really any doubt she'd get stopped in a major way from doing what she wanted. But, considering it was her introduction, it was a really nice way of doing it and showing off all of her abilities somehow. Even more little details that I like. I love the fact that her translocator looks like Tracer's chest brace and a little bit like Winston's shield generator, for example, and that it might be just stolen technology or stolen designs from Winston. While I've never been too enamored with hacking his magic style things, her being well on her way to being a full-blown cyborg perhaps helps explain how she does some of the things she does. Nice touches as well, like the particle cannon looking like Zarya's, so on, just good internal consistency and good world building. What I really want though is the next short. Because this is why I started talking about the future. The ending scene sets up continuity. We've got a cliffhanger now, and not some vague, oh, Hanzo's reflecting and meditating on things, but a direct link to, oh, now Zarya is going to do something, let's see what she's going to do next. Which means we're getting narrative. So let's see where this all goes. Toodles.